Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder walking tour. Today we're headed to the historic Missouri River town of Washington, Missouri. Washington has a long history that dates back to the first settlers that came into this area in the late 18th century. Initial settlements were concentrated around major streams, particularly Dubois and St. John's Creek. The St. John settlement gained mention in the journals of Lewis and Clark in their expedition of 1804 and eventually became the location of Franklin County's first post office, known as St. John's. Permanent settlers welcomed members of the Voyage of Discovery in 1804 and set the stage for the establishment of Washington's riverfront landing, later named Washington's Landing in honor of the late President George Washington, who passed away in 1799. As we go along our journey today, we'll learn a little bit more about the history of Washington as well as some of the historic buildings. For instance, one of the first buildings we see is the Schwigman House. Schwigman was a miller with operations that were located right here along the riverfront. The design of the building was to provide accommodation for customers who traveled to have their grain milled at this facility. Another famous home that was built in 1859 is the Bernard Weiss House. Weiss was a tobacconist and wine merchant. This particular building was notably shown in a lithograph picture that was created to show the town's landscape during that era. In 1893, Anton Tibbe played a pivotal role in bringing electricity to Washington. This building, serving as its third power plant, was meticulously designed by renowned St. Louis architect Theodore Link. Notably, Link is best known for his masterpiece, which is the St. Louis Union Station. The structure itself is a testament to technological advancement and was erected in 1915. Washington, Missouri has earned the distinguished title of the Corncob Pipe Capital of the World, a recognition that traces its roots to the pioneering efforts of the Missouri Meerchaum Company. Established as the world's oldest and largest manufacturing of cool, sweet-smoking corn pipes, this company laid the foundation for Washington's renowned tradition. In 1869, the inception of the corn pipe industry can be attributed to Henry Tibbe, an immigrant woodworker hailing from the Netherlands. The genesis of this unique craft is intertwined with local lore, suggesting that a farmer in the area crafted a pipe from a corn cob and found the smoking experience remarkably satisfying. Entrusted by the outcome, the farmer enlisted Henry Tibbe to replicate the design using his lathe. In 1907, the H. Tibbe & Son Company underwent a transformation and officially became the Missouri Meerchaum Company. The term Meerchaum originates from a German word meaning sea foam, referring to a Turkish clay utilized in the production of grade pipes. These pipes continue to be manufactured even through today. Our next few stops take a look at the railroad history here in Washington. The inaugural train arrived in Washington, Missouri in 1855 that solidified the town's status as the primary transportation hub in Franklin County. Unfortunately, the town's first railroad depot fell victim to destruction during a Civil War raid in October of 1864. Following the setback in 1865, a new frame depot was erected, this depot that we're seeing right here, at the foot of Elm Street. The Missouri Pacific Depot served as Washington's transportation nucleus for 58 years, spanning from the aftermath of the Civil War until it was eventually succeeded by a more contemporary brick depot that we'll see right up here just ahead in 1923. For several years, Washington's Mayor John Ernst, alongside the city council and other officials, persistently petitioned the Missouri Pacific Railroad Company to construct a new depot in Washington. Eventually, in early 1923, work on this improved railroad depot began, and it was installed and ready to go by November of 1923. One of the interesting facts is that this building originally had red tile roof attached to it, but that tile was so heavy it was causing the building to collapse, so it was replaced with more traditional tight tile. Facing the riverfront and across the street from the railroad depot were many hotels and taverns that once lined this street. One of those is the Pacific House, which was both a tavern and a hotel that catered to passengers on the recently completed Pacific Railroad. Another such building here is a hotel that was constructed in 1869 by William Wolfe. This building initially served as a hotel, and it was part of a cluster of inns and hotels alongside the railroad tracks in close proximity to the railroad. After establishing the hotel, William Wolfe eventually sold it and embarked on a new adventure by starting another hotel in Pacific, Missouri. By the early 1830s, Washington was evolving into a predominantly German community driven by a continuous influx of German immigrants. The year 1833 marked the arrival of 12 German Catholic families who settled in Washington, contributed to the town's German-American community. The town's cultural landscape was further enriched by ventures such as the Washington Brewery, established by John Baptiste Bush in 1854. Bush's brewery, associated with the Anheuser-Busch brand, played a notable role in Washington's economic history, surviving prohibition by diversifying into ice, soda pop, and even potato chips. This building that we see over here on our right was completed by August Rotger, who designed this building to accommodate two different types of businesses. The lower level housed Rotger's woodworking shop, while the upper floors operated as an inn run by his wife. Constructed in 1838, this building, the John Clayton Building, served a dual purpose as both a store and an inn under the ownership of John Clayton. The basement of this structure was revealed during the regrading of the streets in the 1870s. Zachariah and Amelia Foss acquired this house in 1848. Zachariah, a cabinet maker, and Amelia, an English teacher, repurposed the residence into a school. Notably, this house stands as Washington's oldest surviving frame structure house. The historical significance extends as the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Foss married James W. Owens, the sole son of Washington's founders. This intertwining of families adds to the rich history associated with this particular house. Across the street to us and to the left, right along the banks of the Missouri River, is the Waterworks building that was constructed in 1889. It was built by the Interstate Gas and Waterworks Company and served both a dual purpose as both a pumping station for Washington's water supply as well as the residence of the proprietor of the Gas and Waterworks Company. Here's a little bit more about the history of Washington. Washington's clay pits fueled the production of brick and pottery, earning at one time the nickname of Bricktown of Missouri. The availability of clay allowed Washington to become a prominent center for brick making in the state by the late 19th century, boasting more brick buildings than Chicago in 1846. Transportation, as we have seen, played a crucial role in Washington's history, with ferry services documented as far back as 1814 and steamships serving the community for decades. The Pacific Railroad, which came in 1855, shifted to the transportation landscape, which eventually led to the diminishing of steamboat traffic. In what's now a full circle, Amtrak now offers passenger rail service to Washington. As we also mentioned, Henry Tibbe's invention of applying a plaster-like substance to corn cobs led to the production of the renowned corncob pipe in Washington. Tibbe's Missouri Meerchaum Company, established after the expiration of his patent, is one of just two remaining corncob pipe producers in the world. Constructed in 1880 by Fritz, I guess it's going to be Schuenmeyer, this building initially functioned as a saloon. The building was subsequently sold to Joseph Stram, who continued operating it as a saloon well into the 1900s. In 1867, John G. Droge inaugurated Droge's Mercantile Food Store on Main Street here in downtown Washington. Subsequently, Cecilia Jack Furman and Butch and Judy Droge follow suit. This particular building where these mercantile endeavors took place was constructed in 1896. In 1880, the Bank of Washington constructed this very beautiful Italianate-style building. The bank remained here until 1923. From 1877 to 1880, the bank was originally located just a bit west of here. Constructed in 1876 by Robert Voss, this building initially housed the Bank of Washington. Later in the 20th century, Kroll's Five and Dime store occupied the space. Additionally, the building once served as a meeting place for the Modern Woodmen of America as well as an Odd Fellows Lodge. After 4 years in business, Joseph H. Schmidt acquired this building in 1880 and he established his Schmidt's Bosses Jewelry. This particular jewelry store endured for an impressive 110 years through three generations of the Schmidt family. The parish of St. Francis Borgia dates back to 1834 when it was founded by 12 immigrant German families. This is the third church structure that has been completed on this site, and it was finished and inaugurated or consecrated in March of 1869. Constructed in 1856, the Bleckman Building is the oldest surviving structure here on Main Street. It was built by the Bleckman family to accommodate their furniture and undertaking businesses. Built in 1875, the Hibler Building has historical significance as it's associated with John D. Hibler, who moved to this building around 1875 or so. It operated as a general store well into the late 1800s. This large brick building here is the St. Francis Borgia Rectory. It was erected during the pastorate of Father Alex Mathushek. The cornerstone of this building was laid on January the 10th, 1883. The cornerstone for a new convent, as well as to accommodate a future school, was laid on this building on June 15th, 1890. This building and school have grown throughout the years, especially starting in 1960 when additional property was acquired. We're now heading into the Tibbe Historic District. This is a residential area where many and most of the oldest homes still here in Washington, Missouri are still located. There's about 23 different homes along this street as well as several other streets that date back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. Many of these structures are recorded on the National Register of Historic Places. Constructed for Henry Tibbe in 1885, this house holds the distinction of being the first in Washington to have indoor plumbing. Additionally, a windmill and brick tower reservoir situated on a lot behind the home once provided water for some of the neighbors. As we talked about, Henry Tibbe was the founder of the Missouri corncob pipe business. Constructed in 1888 for Henry and Wilhelmina Theus, this residence was commissioned by Henry, who was a grain dealer who operated a large elevator on Elm Street. Theus also had a background as a professional bricklayer, and even during his time, the home was regarded as an ornament in the city. Across the street from the Theus house was once the Calvin Opera House. This building was constructed in 1909 by John Calvin and designed by A. Fisher. As we head up here to the corner of 3rd and Elm, the Old Dutch Hotel and Tavern that we see here on our left has been providing the community with a gathering place to relax and enjoy great foods for many, many years. Actually, right at about 100 years now. During the 1870s up to the 1890s, this particular building housed the auto furniture and undertaker business, where furniture and coffins were manufactured. The family associated with this business also lived upstairs in the same building. As we head back into the downtown area again, we see many of the historic buildings and commercial buildings in the downtown area. Many of these still date back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. One such building that we see is the Common Building, Kahmann. It was a sizable building that was constructed downtown in the mid-1890s. Unfortunately, Mr. Common fell victim to an economic recession and promptly sold the structure to the Otto family. The Otto family moved their furniture making business and furniture business to this location in the early 1900s. I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder tour here in downtown and historic Washington, Missouri. If you've been to Missouri, leave a comment on what your impressions were like. If you live in Washington, leave a comment on some of the things that I may have missed that I could see on my next tour through the town. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder adventure. Take care now. Bye-bye.